Now, this book is going to do very well. It's called Winning: Over 300 Trump Administration Accomplishments The Media Refuses to Discuss. Jason Hoyt is with us. You know, and by the way, you have a website, PresidentTrumpWinning.com, which the president was talking about. We'll get sick of winning.
Hi, my name is Jason W. Hoyt. I'm the author and publisher of the book Winning. I was just interviewed by Sean Hannity on his radio show. You know, it's funny, I found this in the archives. When I first met Sean about 15 plus years ago, he was in town doing his radio show at Disney MGM Studios. Anyways, I did his radio show the other day. We talked about the book. It was great. I'm going to play the full interview here in just a moment. But I want to tell you, one point that I tried to make, especially towards the end of the interview, was that this book, I wrote it, I put it together as a conversation starter. I firmly believe the only way we're going to reach those that we love, those closest to us, our family, friends, neighbors, co-workers, the ones that are still buying into the leftist media narrative about Trump, that are not talking about all the successes that are going on in the administration, the only way we're going to reach them is with a book just like this. I sell these at PresidentTrumpWinning.com in bundles. You can get those. You hand them out to your family, friends, neighbors, co-workers. It's a conversation starter. We've got to have that conversation one-on-one with a personal, heartfelt ploy for them to do their own research and think for themselves. Anyways, here's my interview with Sean Hannity.
All right, joining us now to literally shed more light on why this phenomenon is what it is. Now, this book is going to do very well. It's called Winning: Over 300 Trump Administration Accomplishments The Media Refuses to Discuss. Jason Hoyt is with us. And by the way, you have a website, PresidentTrumpWinning.com, which the president was talking about. We'll get sick of winning. Why do you think the media can never give any credit to anything that he's done? And look at the records set again today on the economy.
Well, it's just the fact that it goes completely against their agenda. If you remember, President Obama said, what's he going to do, negotiate a better deal? What's he going to do, wave his magic wand? And here we are with manufacturing numbers, with unemployment numbers, deregulation, doing exactly the things that he promised during the campaign, which went against everything Obama promoted and Hillary promoted. And here we are with more and more winning.
So my question is, I obviously can't give all the 300 accomplishments. We have actually done something that no other TV show has done, and we've done it on this radio program, and that is we've actually listed them to the extent you can list them and not bore people to death. But on TV, we actually scroll them along with my monologues some nights, and I'm looking at this list of accomplishments, and I'm thinking, wow, think about that. Now, compare that to the time the media mob spends on, let's see, Robert Mueller, the witch hunt, Russia, Stormy, S-hole, racist. They don't give any time to the success, do they?
No, not at all. And I think that one of the greatest successes is beyond the economic numbers for President Trump is just what you talked about with Rush Limbaugh in your interview, is finally we have someone who is taking on the media, not trying to be a media darling and hope they like him. He's playing them like a fiddle. I think Rush a couple years ago said that Twitter is Trump's laser pointer and the media are cats. Finally, we have a guy who is in office controlling the media and setting the narrative, even though they're not giving him any credit for any of the success and the winning. Well,
the thing is, I am the forgotten man. That was my life for a good part of my life. I didn't have money in the bank. I didn't have any insurance. I didn't have hope of having any insurance. And the only thing I had was my, two good hands, halfway decent brain, and a work ethic that was instilled in me by my parents and grandparents. And that work ethic literally saved my life. And living in the greatest country God gave man.
Absolutely. And I mean, you think about even last July, I believe Trump signed an executive order setting up the National Council for the American Worker. How many times have you heard that discussed? They're talking about more education for manufacturing. And I think that that's what a lot of the manufacturing, that blue-collar side, if you will, that you talked about, there's much more confidence. There's a lot of investment in that area. And they've finally got a guy on board who, remember, President Obama during that same town hall said, well, we're just going to have to retrain them to do something else. Those jobs aren't coming back. Well, we got a new guy here, a new sheriff in town, and the jobs are coming back.
Well, I want to ask this, because when you see the manufacturing jobs, as I was saying, those jobs didn't just disappear. They were legislated out of business. The regulations drove them out of business. The high taxation drove them out of business. And that's why companies, is it true or not true? They decide they can't make a profit if they produce in America, so they go abroad. How much of a factor was that?
It's a huge factor. And in fact, candidate Trump promised to remove 2 regulations for every new 1 regulation implemented. And in 2018, I believe he removed the ratio of 12 to 1, way above what he promised. In 2017, he started off with 22 to 1. And so I think that what he's doing is he's returning the free market to the people. Instead of a government-run economy where these agencies pick and choose who wins in the economy and who loses, he's returning by reducing regulation and returning the economy to the people.
All right, got to take a break. We'll come back. This book is amazing. We put it on Hannity.com. It's called Winning Over 300 Trump Administration Accomplishments the Media Mob Refuses to Discuss. All right, as we continue, the author of the book, Jason Hoyt, is with us. Winning Over 300 Trump Administration Accomplishments. Why is this president setting these employment records? And do you see a correlation? For example, black unemployment, another huge record, which is awesome for this country. Why? What is it specifically that is, why are his policies impacting the communities that I would argue were disproportionately negatively impacted by Biden-Obama, the people that claim to have a monopoly of compassion for every separate demographic group in the country?
I think that, especially when you look at the walk-away movement, which isn't being discussed by the rest of the media, the walk-away movement, people who are walking away from the Democrat Party, they're seeing the light. They're seeing the opportunity out there. And when you reduce the regulation, for example, and I don't think that he has specific policies that I'm going to target the black community only, because it's not just the black community. It's Hispanics, it's women. There's record numbers across the board. Unfortunately, we've got a mentality of breaking everybody into classes and segmentations and categories. But across the board, we're all winning in this economy. So I don't think he's actually targeting specific areas and saying, I'm going to help them only. It's helping all of us.
Do you agree with me that the biggest opportunity for everybody's wealth to rise, in other words, if we want everybody's standard of living to rise, which we do, I see if we're going to train truck drivers in the energy sphere, and we're going to train them and they're going to make 80 grand starting out after training and 100 grand easy if they do a little overtime and 125 grand if they do a lot of overtime, and then more as the years go on. Those are real career high-paying jobs. And to me, there's probably millions of them that will be created. Do you agree with me that is the biggest potential growth possibility, rising tide possibility of success for most Americans?
I absolutely do. And again, it's that deregulation side. Even without the help of Nancy Pelosi and the Democrat Congress, he's reducing these regulations, and businesses feel optimistic. There's less barriers to entry. More and more people can be entrepreneurial and start a small business, or they can, get that training, which he talked about in the National Council for the American Worker last year. I see tremendous opportunity across the board, and people are optimistic and taking advantage of all that.
All right, listen, we put your book. I think this is going to do very well. Congratulations on it. Winning, it's called. You got a great cover on the book. Over 300 Trump administration accomplishments, the media mob. Why didn't you put the word mob in there? Do you not listen to the show enough? The media mob, I'm adding the word mob, refuses to discuss.
Well, I refer to this book as a conversation starter. We have to reach, I believe, with personal conversations with our friends and family, those that are still buying into the narrative of the leftist media. We have to reach them with personal conversation, sit them down and say, look, this is what's going on. This is the real news about what's going on, not the fake news. Do some research. It's a conversation starter. So no, I didn't put mob on there. I didn't want to get them too triggered at the outset on the cover.
All right. Thank you so much, Jason. We wish you well. It's up on Hannity.com, Amazon.com. Winning over 300 Trump administration accomplishments the media mob refuses to discuss.